How you doing? What's going on? Welcome to Daily Fuel number 2. And don't worry, I'm not going to be numbering these every day for eternity. Probably just the first, like 2 or 3 or 17 days. And then I'll get bored with that and I'll stop. And do we have sound? Yeah, sound's on. I always check the sound before I do this because one time I did a live. I did one of these in my old group. I did it for 2.5 minutes. I was going, just blabbering. It was gold. Microphone wasn't on. Just, silence, nothing happening, no sound, just me. Nobody told me. Just, just going. Anyway, thanks for being here. If you're watching this in the replay, do me a favor and do hashtag replay people, replay person, replay awesome thing, whatever. Any kind of hashtag that you like. And that's it. I'm just going to wait a couple minutes. We tagged some people and then we will start. But in the meantime, I will just talk to the replay people. How you doing today? First of all, if you're in the replay, I'm very excited about this group, if you can't tell. And I'm just more than thrilled that people are just kind of grabbing on to the idea of it. And a lot of people are running with it and using it for their own. And that's really what a Facebook group is supposed to be. I just want it to be a community and everything. And also, a platform for me to do my thing, but also just a place where we can all kind of learn and grow together and take this Quantum Odyssey, as I call it, together. So I see we have 2 people here. If you're here, do me a favor, drop a comment. Just let me know that you're here, you can hear me, and all that stuff. I see a thumbs up, but I don't know who did it. I'm going to start in just a few seconds, see if anybody else jumps on here. And today I am talking about Core Genius. So let's see. It says 2 people are here, but I never trust that number because usually it's more than that. That's what I like to think anyway. What's that? Hang on a second. Stephanie Catherine says, hi. Why are you in a different... Oh, there you are. Oh, that's weird. Oh, you're like supposed to be in this window that I have here, but then it shows up. I got a notification. Whatever. It was confusing. I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, I'm going to start now. Are you ready? Oh, all right. So here we go. Stephanie's here. Good morning, says Ethelwyn. Hi, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, so please forgive me. I'm going to go with Ethelwine. If you want, do me a favor, drop a comment here and tell me how to pronounce your name so I say it correctly. Watching here in Taiwan. Hi, good morning. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for starting your day here. Jason is ready to explore about Core Genius. Yeah, dude, cool. Let's do this. Are you ready? Let's go. Here we go. Beginning. Core Genius. This is a term that I like to use. I don't think I made it up. I think Jack Canfield, I got it from him. I'm not sure. I read it somewhere and I was like, yeah, I like that. And I've just been using it for years and years and years. I honestly don't remember. I think Jack Canfield. I don't remember. We'll go with him. Why don't we just say I made it up? Melinda says, hi, Bobby. Hi. I'll read that again later. I don't know why I'm reading it now. Anyway, so... Core Genius. What I use that as sort of like, I'm going to break it down for you, okay? Core meaning inner, innate, from you, from inside. The core is basically what you are made of. It's what you're built upon, the foundational thing. Any of those words that you like, go with that. I went with core. And genius in the sense of something that you're really freaking good at. Right? It doesn't have to be like an Einstein level genius. It doesn't mean you have to be an astrophysicist or anything like that. You don't have to be the smartest person. You don't have to be the anythingist person. It just has to be something that you are innately talented at. And basically that's what a core genius is. It's an innate born talent. Something that I call it a superpower too. I have words for everything. So anything like that, that's what I mean when I say core genius. Now, I'm going to do a sidebar real quick about words because I'm a big fan of words. I think that I'm fascinated by words and I'm fascinated by the way people use different words for the same thing. And sometimes people use words kind of flippantly, which is why I try to clarify what I'm saying with the words that I'm using. And so that's what I mean by core genius. But, the words that I use may not always fit with your vocabulary. They might not mean the same thing to you, or they could have a meaning from your past that you're just like, oh, I don't like that word. A lot of you will know about this. For example, in a lot of like spiritual communities, there's a lot of talk about awakening and ascension, right? So I don't really talk about that too much here. I'm into it to a degree, but this group is really about like tapping into your core genius and finding your passion and using that to live out your purpose. But for example, when people are talking about the ascension, I don't like that word, because to me, I grew up learning about the ascension and stuff in Catholic school, and it's just a word that I don't like it. So I don't use it. But I know what people mean. It doesn't offend me. But, I'm always fascinated by like what other words can we use for things. So I just want you to know that when I throw out a word there, if it's not your word, feel free to jump in the comments of something that I'm talking about and say, I like this word better, or have you ever considered that word? And then I know there's people in the spiritual world that don't like labels for anything. And personally, I don't really get that, because words are how we communicate as human beings. We don't have telepathy. We can't. You didn't get that, right? So that doesn't work. We need to use words, and words basically are labels for things. So I don't know how else to do it. So that's that. So that's what a core genius is. And here's something that a core genius isn't. It's not your purpose. And it's not, right? It's not your purpose in life. It's the talent that you have. Now, your purpose, to me, is what you do with that talent. Right? They go hand in hand, but they're a different thing. So I know that I said today in the thing about people, like, let's talk about core genius today. And there were a few comments about people not really knowing what their purpose was, which is fine. But core genius and purpose, to me, are not the same thing. They go together, but not the same. Let me see if I can say that a different way, the same way. I'm repeating myself. So, okay. That's really it for core genius. Now, the point of this group is that I want to help people tap into their core genius. I believe that everybody has one, a core genius, and I want to help people tap into it. And that to me is my purpose, but it's not necessarily my talent. I don't go around helping people find their core genius, and that's not my talent. It's the purpose that I have to use my talent. My core genius is art, music, speaking really fast, and flubbering over words sometimes. But that's just what my talent is, what I love to do. It's like, I can't stop doing it. I can't stop making music. I can't stop writing. I can't stop making art and just thinking of cool ideas and things that I want to do like this. But my purpose is, what do I want to do with that art? So here's an example. I'm gonna wrap this up for you and land this airplane so you understand what the hell I'm talking about. I called this group Quantasy. I came up with these words, right? Quantum Odyssey. So quantum to me is like really small, but it's also like the cosmic level. I don't know if you're into quantum physics at all, but there's this idea, right? Like, for example, this is a cell phone. And we know it's a cell phone. We can see it, we can hold it, we can touch it, we can use it. It's solid, right? But when you get onto a quantum level, funny things start to happen, right? Everything becomes energy, and there is no solid things. A lot of you know this already, but I'm just going to say it anyway. So what happens at the quantum level is that everything becomes light energy to a degree. And light energy, I don't know if you've ever heard of the experiment where if the light goes through the slits, then if it's observed, it could be a wave or it could be a particle. I'm botching this. I'm not a physicist. But physicists are always like, it just seems very strange that how could it be both? And there's also a law, I don't know the name of the law, but some certain things that are very, very, very small on that scale cannot be observed, and you know where they are at the same time. And the reason for that is because in order for something to be observed, light has to hit it and bounce off and go into your eyes. But when things are that small on a cosmic scale, when the light hits it and it bounces back into your eye, the light wave that hit it knocked it off. So now you see it, but it's not there anymore. And that to me is just very fascinating. And so the whole idea of everything being energy at a quantum level, and just things don't behave the same way on that level. My phone is here. I put it down on the table. If I look there in a couple minutes, I'm pretty darn sure my phone is still going to be there. But on a quantum level, things can just jump across the universe, and we don't really understand how or why. Except I like to think that that's where like the magic of 5D comes from. That's where we can tap into that magic and bring it here. I'm going really off the script here today, but I want you to understand where I'm coming from. And I feel like I have so much to get out as quickly as possible so that I can dive into the things that I really want to be talking about, but there's like context and foundational pieces that need to be said. So bear with me right now. So that's where quantum comes from, because I'm really into that. And then the Odyssey part is tying back into Core Genius, because the Odyssey to me is a journey. It's something that there's really no end to. It's your entire life is an Odyssey. And for me, my Core Genius has changed over time. I've always been a creative person. I've always loved art and music, as I said, but different mediums have come and gone for me. For example, as a kid, I just loved to draw. I made comic books. I did all kinds of stuff, and then I got into pen and ink drawing in college. And today, I barely draw at all. It's just not anything that I'm interested in anymore. It doesn't mean that my passion in life has changed, or even that, but my core genius has sort of shifted and transformed into things. When I got into college, I also started getting into music. I always loved singing, but I was just one of those kids like with a hairbrush in my bedroom, and that was about it. But in college, I had the opportunity to sing on stage, and I loved it. And I was like, I got to do this all the time. So to this day, I'm still a singer and a songwriter and a musician, and it's just something that just continually comes out of me. I can't stop thinking about it and doing it. That's why I call it a core genius. It's just there. It's me. It's what I am, right? But it's not my purpose. My purpose is to now use that for a reason. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the reason that I use it, and I'm going to use music as a really good example, because a lot of people think, oh, you're a musician. Well, why don't you go like on American Idol or one of those things? And right? And I have no interest in that, because I don't want to be like a pop singer. I don't care about having millions of fans and touring the world, and pretend it's not 2020, but you know what I mean, right? And that was kind of cool back in the day when I was in my 20s. I had really long hair, and I was a singer in a rock band, and we played all over Long Island and New York City, and did some really fun things. But then I didn't care about doing that anymore. But the music was still a part of me. And I realized that as I was writing music all the time, it always had a spiritual bent. I didn't write love songs. I didn't write pop songs. I wrote kind of deep spiritual songs and uplifting, inspirational things. And that's just what poured out of me. I didn't set out to do it. It's just like, oh, let me write a song. And this thing came out, and that was that. And so it was like, I don't want to be a touring musician. I don't care about being a pop singer, but I would like to do something where I have an audience and can sort of present my take on things and do it this way in my style. That's why I set all this weird stuff up, and I do this in my style. And I do the music the same way. So that's really it. That's what a core genius is. It's just an innate talent, and you're going to hear me use that word all the time. I'm sorry that it took me 13 minutes to say that core genius is your talent. That's really it. I could have said that one sentence and been done, but I don't do it that way. I ramble. So that's it. I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to go to the comments. Wow, I see there are some comments. Okay, so I'm going to go to the comments, and let's do that. And Melinda says, hi, Bobby. Oh, there's only a couple of comments. And Ethelwine, you pronounced my name correctly. Good. Ethelwine. Well, I said it two ways. I'm going with that way. April's here. Hi, April. Namaste. And Melinda says, I agree they are different and go hand in hand, but finding it is an interesting journey. That said, for me, I seem to have many diverse and seemingly unrelated skills. Oh, I'm glad you said this. I'm going to talk about this. Finding my way to utilize them in my everyday life to make my way in the world is the challenge. Yeah, and Shin said greetings and love. Thank you. Glad you're here. Let me talk about Melinda's comment here, because Melinda, you're not alone. I have the same problem. I this is going to sound like a humble brag, but I'm really good at a lot of things. And it's a blessing and a curse. I'm really good at art. I'm really good at music. I'm really good at writing. I'm really good at speaking, well, most days. And I'm really good at, well, I like speaking. How about that? And I'm really good at just a lot of things creative. And I'm also pretty good at explaining complex things in a simple way. Don't take this live as an example of that. But these are a lot of talents that I have and a lot of things that I like to do. And some of them become my passion. And like, I know I like to animate and draw, not draw, like I said before, but I like to animate, make animated TV shows. And it's something that I'm working on. And for years, I've been saying, wow, I love doing this thing. I love doing my music project. I love doing my animated TV show. It was a TV show for kids called Planet Bonehead to teach them about science and the environment. But it had nothing to do with the music. You know, they were completely unrelated. And I love working with some of my clients on explaining complex things so that they can make sales. And that was like a lesser thing. It was creative, but not as creative. It has been a struggle for me for the last few years. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, to sort of combine all of those into one thing and say, like, how can I use my music and my love of speaking to an audience and my love of spiritual stuff and my love of this and my talent for that? How can I put them all into like one thing that I can say, hey, here's my thing? This is my solution so far. I haven't gotten everything into it, but in my brain, I can see how they all fit together more than ever before. So, Melinda, I feel your pain and I know exactly what you're talking about. It's really, really hard when you have diverse and seemingly unrelated skills. I would say try to meditate or take a walk or do something and just start asking, like, how do these things go together? They probably go together, and it could be in a way that you've never thought of before. This could be like a whole different live, but we will definitely talk on this again. And April says, same. Dan, hey Dan, what's going on, buddy? Going to record at the studio right now. Going to use my inner genius. Nice. Excellent. See, inner genius. I like that. I don't say inner genius, but it means the same thing. Core genius, inner genius, same thing, different words, right? Jason, appreciate the talk on how the interests can shift. The talent is not lost, but the expression may evolve. Had struggled with that mindset in the past. The talent is not lost, but the expression may evolve. Yeah, exactly, right? You're doing your thing, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't like doing it this way anymore. Does that mean I've lost my core genius? Does that mean my purpose in life is gone? No, it just means that maybe you weren't 100% aligned with what you want to be doing. Maybe you find your purpose or you're living your purpose, but maybe your purpose changes, or maybe you complete it. I don't know. You know, there aren't any rules. You get to make up the rules. That's the nice thing about this. And just it's really just tapping into what you are, what you love to do, and finding a way to do it as often as you can. And for me, that meant implementing it in my business, because I am an entrepreneur and I like running a business, and if I have to work and I have to run a business, I want my work and my business to be about my core genius. That was just, for me, it made a lot of sense. But for everybody here, we're not all entrepreneurs, so maybe that doesn't make sense. Maybe your core genius is something that you're not going to, package up into the world and make a course about or sell in stores. It doesn't matter. It's just figuring out what it is takes time, and it takes some inner work. You got to do the work. So if you're sitting there going like, I don't even know what my inner genius or my core genius or my superpower or my talent is, then there's some work you got to do to sort of just, you can meditate on it. You can, I like to here's what I like to do. I like to meditate, and I like to go for walks, and I like to talk out loud. Because when I talk out loud, all of a sudden words start coming out of my mouth that I don't even know where they came from. And it's like, oh, that's a good idea. And it just works for me. So anyway, I hope this helped in some ways. I had a whole spiel here, but I went off on a sideways tangent and then tried to bring it back. I kind of did. But anyway, let's see. There are no LOL, firefighting and visual art. Yeah. Melinda. We're similar, Melinda, because I was a firefighter too. It was something I always wanted to do. As a little kid growing up, I always wanted to be a firefighter. And then I joined the fire department years ago in my old town. We live in a town now, but I used to live in a different town about 20 or 30 miles away from here. And here on Long Island, we have all volunteer fire departments. It's not a paid thing. So you can just sign up and become a volunteer firefighter. And I did it for about 3 years, and I really enjoyed it. It was such an amazing experience, but it was definitely not my core genius, definitely not my purpose in life. So I don't know, but firefighting and visual art, maybe you can just do something that combines the two. I don't know. I could say, oh, draw pictures of firefighters. That doesn't mean anything. You have to kind of feel it. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. This was a lot of fun. Oh, Dan had a comment. Also, I think it helps having a community like this. Not everyone is going to understand you following your truth and doing what you love doing for your living. Yeah, not everyone's going to understand it, right? Oh man, that's a good one for another whole day, because I mean, it's easy to be like, oh, I love doing this here in a group like this, because everyone's going to be like, oh, that's cool, even if it's not their thing. But out in the real world, if it's not their thing, people don't seem to have a problem saying so. That's weird, right? That's why I tagged everybody with you weirdos, because here I feel like weird is a cool thing, because we're not normal. We're not normal people who just do the normal thing and are sleeping through life and just, not realizing that they have something deeper in them. And I guess that also is where core genius comes from, because when you know you have a core genius, you can't stop looking for it. You can't stop trying to tap into it, because the only alternative is just to, go to work and do your thing and get a paycheck and come home and watch Netflix and go to sleep and wake up the next day and do it again and wish that you could have climbed Kilimanjaro or flown, in a jet fighter or whatever, or been a firefighter. I don't know what to say. It's like here, it's kind of, I want this to be a safe place where we could say, I think my core genius is this and I want to explore it. Well, then go ahead and post that and let's explore it and talk about it and say, hey, I think it's this and this is something I'm working on. What do you guys think? Go ahead and do that. And April says, thank you. Missed some. I'll watch it back later. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, guys, I'm going to end this one here. April, you get the booby prize for the last comment. It was going to Dan, but then you snuck in under the wire and stole it. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow.